How did you feel about when you were driving with Theodore? How frustrating was it when you were in a fair car and you weren't even qualifying?
Very. It was just like after winning 5 championships plus the Formula Ford Festival, and to be starting last. I mean, it was just actually it was embarrassing. And then to be told that I couldn't drive by the team owner or the team manager was very, very hard. And obviously I didn't handle it very well. I was 23 years of age.
Yeah, because you were coming from a situation whereby every race that you had driven in, you were either on pole or winning or coming second, mostly winning though. You were competitive all the time.
I was told by Julian Randall that I couldn't drive. That's why I wasn't. If Keke Rosberg was in the car, he'd be on pole position. And I just couldn't drive the car. Then I wouldn't qualify. I'd fly home to do a Formula 3 race in England, and I'd win it. And I'd go back to Formula 1, and it didn't make any difference. The guy was out of control.
Yeah. Everything. Is that something to do maybe with the bad timing? Different time if you had been...
I mean, I got unlucky. I mean, I got to the top very fast. I got in the wrong team, wrong time. Didn't handle it as well as I should have, and I just went on to have... I enjoyed myself. I had life after that.
For so long, it seemed like on your way up that your talent was taking you through. You were winning. You never paid for a drive, and the way it works is like, let's say with Ayrton Senna coming over from Brazil, a long line of wealthy Brazilians coming over, and the guys who were in Formula 3, Formula 2 will be saying, well, listen, you're going to drive for the year because you're going to give my company $50,000 or £50,000, I should say, to drive. You, on the other hand, went a different route, and you always had to keep winning to get money, and you were always paid for your drives.
Actually, I was never paid until kind of towards the end, but I never had to pay. I got free drives, and I somehow managed to get sponsorship. I had a lot of friends help me along the way, but no, I never brought money, never paid for crash sandwich. I just didn't. I didn't have the money, and I had to win to go to the next race every time, every year. So it kind of became normal for me.
Do you look back and you say, well, if I was in a different situation, if I had more money, then I probably would have made it to Formula 1. It would have been a much easier ride, less questioning of you by people?
I wouldn't even have thought about having to do it that way, because I mean, it just, but of course, if you have the money and you can pick and choose your teams and your mechanics, obviously that's perfect way to go. And it's just take a look at Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher.
Yeah. The other thing then was you were one of your possible ways, Tommy, coming in was obviously getting a drive from McLaren, and you had a meeting with Ron Dennis that you said didn't go well, something that you regretted later on, but then subsequently you had a test for McLaren. And was it difficult looking back on that, because that was seen maybe as the two things that were maybe two chances, and there was things about that test that you found out since?
Yeah, well, the Ron Dennis, the meeting with Ron Dennis was everybody knows Ron Dennis. I don't think I should have to say anything about him. Everybody knows what he's like.
Yeah.
He's just a different type of person, and he's not a Tommy Byrne person, and he's not an Irish person. He's English, and he I don't know. I just have to be careful around Dennis, but.
He had his views, you didn't fit, and that was where the meeting went.
Absolutely. In retrospect, when I look back on it, there's no way. I mean, I should have, of course, when I went into that meeting, I should have been something I wasn't, but that was never going to happen. I was never going to be like that. The test I got that test because I won the Formula 3 championship, not because Ron Dennis offered it to me. It was a prize test. The first 3 drivers, first, second, and third, always got a test sponsored by Marlboro. That's why I got in that car at that time, not because Ron Dennis wanted me in the car. Everybody was tied up, the deals were done, and there was never going to be a drive for Tommy Byrne.
And when you walked away after posting those lap times, the fastest the car had been driven that year, for example, and there was some of your Irish friends there timing saying you'd even timed even quicker.
Yes.
You still knew not a hope.
I didn't believe them when they told me I was going quicker. I believed McLaren, because I didn't even have any idea McLaren would do anything and give fake times.
Yeah.
And come to find out when I met the mechanic years later in Elkhart Lakes 6 years ago. He was the guy that put the pedals in the car, and he told me when he fitted me into the car and fitted my pedals, he didn't give me full throttle because they didn't want me to go quicker than theory goods.
Were they worried maybe that, you mentioned in the book as well, that perhaps maybe it was a consideration that they were worried you'd crash into a wall trying to go too fast or something?
That's not what the mechanic told me. When I talked to him, it was because I was too cocky and too confident, and they did not want me going fast in theory goods. And after my ride, I went to talk to the mechanic to get it verified. Then the story changed. Yeah.
It's something that strikes me sometimes, the talented driver doesn't make it all the way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in Formula 1 now, I deal with a lot of young drivers.
Yeah.
And I drive a coach, Crashed and Byrned driver development, and of course I tell them the right things to do. And it's just certain things you have to do today. You cannot be seen to be having a good time. You cannot seem to be having a beer in your hand or anything like that. It's just you have to do what everybody else is doing, or you're just not going to get the drive. Money or no money.
Yeah, yeah. When you went to America, did you think you were going to get? You got to the Indy Light series. Did you have a plan to go to IndyCar proper, or was it a case that maybe your life was getting a little bit out of control at that stage?
It's the same thing. It's once you get to your chance, once you get to the ultimate in the world in Formula One, and you work so hard, and I did, and I had a lot of friends help me get there. Once you fail at that, and then it's very hard to get back up again and get off your feet, on your feet, and back up to IndyCars or anything for that matter. So I went back over again and started from Formula Ford, 1600, just where I started in Ireland, and won Formula Ford over there, won the Southeast Championship for Ralph Furman, and got into Indy Lights and got close to IndyCars again. But at that stage, people still had to bring money. So yeah, then it just started just going away slowly but surely. It just started disappearing.
And there was a cross path with Ayrton Senna, of course, when you were driving in the first time round when you were on the ladder towards Formula One. How did you feel how did you feel about him and his talent, and how did you feel about, obviously he had the money that you didn't have to make it, maybe his face fitted a little better, but how did you feel when you heard he died, when he crashed?
Well, I mean, obviously I wasn't happy at that stage, because I think it might be in the book that I kind of made up with Ayrton Senna towards the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I needed some help over, I flew back from America, and I needed some help getting in touch with the Formula One team manager, and I went to Ayrton Senna and he helped me, so I did make up with him, and of course I wasn't happy that he was dead. Who would be?
Can I ask you, when you're in Ohio now, is it you're doing training kids to drive, involved in corporate days, a successful business? When you look at where you are now, are you happy with it? And how crazy did things get at one stage? Like you had a couple of low points. You went to Mexico, and there was some serious crazy stories involving guns and stuff like that. How does it look to you now, looking back?
I'm kind of lucky to be alive. I had fun in Mexico, and I was glad to get out of it. I think it was time at that time to get out, but it's just crazy stuff happened to me all the time. And now I'm at the stage of my life where I kind of can stand back a little bit and maybe pick and choose a little bit, and maybe money's not everything.
Yeah, yeah. Was it difficult researching and writing the book and even talking about it now?
Yeah, it was. I started off the book, and it was supposed to be a funny book, and I was going to tell the whole truth. And because nobody's ever done it before, it's always hidden. Everything's hidden away. It's all secrets and stories, and then towards the end of the book, it started getting harder and harder, and it wasn't just funny anymore. It took a couple of years to finish it in the end, just trying to please everybody and not upset too many people.
Yeah. Hold back in any way because of trying?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, there might be a Crashed and Byrned too.
I guess life is like that. You gotta hold back sometimes.
But yeah, I mean, it's just you try. You want to do. You can't tell a story. I can't tell a story because that's just who I am, without telling the truth. And then it's very hard, because then you have to take a look at who's involved. And so yeah, it took a couple of years to finish this off. And in the end, we just had to just get it done.
How did you feel when, like, a lot of people you were involved with? I mean, Gary Anderson's technical director at Jordan and Jaguar is now commentary. He tried to start up his own team as well. Eddie Jordan went on to massive success. Eddie Irvine made the breakthrough from an Irish driver standpoint. Did you pay much attention when you were over in America to when that was happening, and how did you feel about it?
Oh yeah, I met Gary. Gary Anderson's still a good friend of mine, and actually I'm going to see him next week in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
No, Gary, I've been friends for years, and Eddie Irvine, I never met Eddie.
Yeah.
I heard he was a little bit like me.
Yeah.
But of course he went on to make money, and anybody that goes on to make money in racing or Formula One, I would say good luck to them.
Yeah. Were you surprised that it took so long, maybe, for an Irish team, Irish driver, to make the breakthrough?
It was great. I called Eddie Jordan Eddie and Gary, because they both won. Gary won as a designer, and Eddie Jordan won as a team owner, and I called both of them and congratulated them. I just thought it was the best thing ever for an Irish team to win Formula One race and an Irish designer. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Did you pay much attention? Do you pay much attention to it now, Lewis Hamilton, and see where driving has gone?
Yes, I do.
What do you think of it?
I think it's great. I mean, I watch it. I get up. I mean, in America, I have to get up early so to go watch it. But I would still get up and watch it. Sometimes I'm sorry I get up because it might be a little boring. But sometimes you get a good race. But I still watch Formula One.
Yeah.
And I think the best man won the championship. Unfortunately, he was in the wrong car because I don't like McLaren.
Yeah.
Like Brown Dennis.
Yeah. Just finally, do you get home much, Dundalk?
The last time I was home was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I met Mark Hughes, my co-writer. He came over to visit, and we just went around. I showed him where I lived and where I was brought up and some of the stories, and that's the last time I was home 3 years ago.
Yeah. Listen, Tommy, it's a great read. It's a fantastic story. Crashed and Byrned. Well, recommend anyone to get it. In all good bookshops now. And listen, thanks a million for coming in and talking to me about it.
Thank you very much for having me, Jerry.